Hi everyone. Whenever a sector trades near its all-time high in the stock market, a common question arises: is it really sustainable or is a major correction just around the corner? The Nifty Pharma index is currently near its new historical peak, crossing the 25,000 mark. Its price to earning ratio is trading around 37 to 38, which makes it significantly more expensive than its historical price. However, making a decision based on solely on the valuation number would be incomplete research. Behind this market movement lies a massive structural and data-driven transformation, which is absolutely essential for every investor to understand. To begin with, let us look at India's global position. The Indian pharma industry is frequently called the pharmacy of the world, and there are solid metrics to back this up. In the terms of production volume, India stands as the third largest drug manufacturer globally, supplying 20% of the world's total generic medicines. When it comes to the vaccine, India fulfills nearly 65 to 70% of the WHO global vaccine requirement. According to the official data for the financial year 24-25, India's pharma exports hit a record high of $30.47 billion, which is roughly 2.66 lakh crore rupees, growing at an annual rate of 9.4%. The most notable aspect is that over 50% of this export go to highly regulated markets like United States and Europe. Furthermore, between 2026 and 2030, the global market is going to witness a massive patent cliff where drugs worth $142 billion will lose their patent protection. This shift is set to open a massive new door for Indian companies on the export front. On the domestic front, two specific examples explain the reality of this transition. The first is Penicillin-G. This is not just an ordinary medicine, but the core raw material used to manufacture 90% of the antibiotic drugs, serving as the base for standard fever, cold, and infection tablets. It is striking that for the last 30 years, India was 100% dependent on China for this basic raw material. If China stopped supplying the raw material, local factories would shut down. To change this, government introduced a 15,000 crore rupees production linked incentive PLI scheme in 2021, which completely altered the dynamic by providing cash subsidies to companies manufacturing this raw material right here in India. As a result, companies like Aurobindo Pharma have already operationalized a massive Penicillin-G plant with the country. Driven by the policy, pharma sector has now attracted over 42,000 crore rupees in actual private investment. Another major factor is development of bulk drug parks. Historically, the biggest expenses for pharma factory, especially those making raw active ingredients, was setting up an effluent treatment plant to clean the chemical waste. The government solved this by developing a new bulk drug park and installing a common effluent treatment plant. The shared infrastructure has reduced the initial capital expenditure for individuals companies by 25%, which explain why the Nifty Pharma index has surged from 13,000 in 2021 to over 25,000 today. Based on these facts, the data forecasts that the Indian pharmaceutical market, which is currently valued at around $60 billion, could scale up to $80 billion by year 2031. Even so, given the premium valuation, investing blindly in any random stock can be highly risky. The data suggests that focusing on two specific strategies is highly sensible approach. First, it is wise to focus domestic branded player because companies that generate a massive portion of their revenue from Indian domestic market face negligible risk from US FDA regulatory bans, making their earning incredibly stable. Second, look closely at companies with a strong chronic portfolio. Businesses that manufacture medicine for long-term lifestyle diseases like diabetes, blood pressure and cancer experience steady recurring demand, which ensures a consistent and healthy cash flow for the company. In this historical market rally, making decisions based on data and structural policies rather than the emotion is the right approach. If you found this video logical and useful, please like and subscribe the channel. See you in the next video.